Yes, we are back. What is going on, my friends? Another day, another sports card video. We got a couple of topics that I want to talk about today. The first one being a Jeff Wilson reel, or something that came out talking about a Topps call with card shops.
Factory set!
And how, man, there's going to be such a shakeup in that world, so we will talk about that. And why doesn't Darren Rovell seem to understand some of the basics around a particular hot topic in the hobby? We will dive in. Stick around. Big shouts to today's sponsor, SGC at GoSGC.com. $15 for sports card grading and $12 for TCG card grading. There is no extra charge for the autograph grade. If it is a 10, definitely check out SGC grading. Tux is where it's at. It's at GoSGC.com. All right, Frank, do we have the Jeff Wilson clip talking about card shops and some stuff that's going down? Go ahead. Do it now. Frank.
Earlier today, Topps held a call for hobby shop owners and they laid down some new rules. Topps told shop owners that if they give customers products before release day, they risk having their Topps allocation suspended. Topps is upset that cards from new sets are hitting social media and eBay before release day, and they are going to crack down on the shops that are causing this. Topps also said that shops cannot resell their cases and boxes to other dealers within 30 days of release day. This move is to prevent dealers who get excessive allocation from acting as a mini distributor. Instead, Topps would rather give that dealer less allocation and give more allocation to other shops that need it. This is part of Fanatics' ongoing strategy to cut out the middlemen, which ultimately should save collectors money. What do you think of these moves by Topps? Personally, I like Topps leveling the playing field and having fair and transparent rules for all shops to follow. But let me know if you agree in the comments.
And so first things first, they do not want new product hitting social media before the thing is released. Actually, I did see this, a few different instances of this where people were complaining about, like, how the heck is this out already when we haven't even gotten to the release date? And I know on social media, it's all about getting attention. If you kind of break that thing first, if you kind of put that out first, then you get a lot of attention around it, of course, especially when it's pre-release date. Well, Topps is not too happy about that, and if they catch it, they are going to suspend accounts and or probably just terminate agreements for those that have allocation with them. Also, they are not a fan, and this is absolutely of zero shock to anybody, of dealer-to-dealer interactions, selling between dealer to dealer. They have a rule that you can't sell 30 days until 30 days after 30 days after the thing has been released. Ideally, they don't want it to be how it was in the past, where it was like, oh, this person finagled X amount of allocation. They have all this extra stuff. They can't really sell it, but they know other dealers that can sell it. And so they sell it off to them. That is all going away. And you want to know why? First off, it's not efficient. Secondly, Fanatics and Topps, they want that damn money.
Fleer!
Why would they cut somebody in that is just selling it off to somebody else? And frankly, a lot of this stuff, we've heard this talk, but Michael Rubin is a direct-to-consumer guy. In the future, the majority of this stuff, I have no doubt whatsoever, is going to be sold through the website, and that's going to be it. It's going to drop on the site, they will sell it off, and that'll be that. I honestly think the only reason why Michael Rubin is really cutting in a lot of these card shops is simply because he does recognize the importance of card shops within the ecosystem. But if this was any other business, I think that he would chop this tree down. He would not be working with a lot of these card shops. And I think that also over time, Topps will look for reasons. They will probably give, certain shops a chance, like, hey, we need to pick this up. We need to get the shop looking better and all this or that.
We got a 1987 Fleer! Factory set!
But they can always just pull this allocation. So if you are a shop that is heavily dependent on that product, I would be saying, and I'm sure a lot of shops have already shifted gears a year, 2 years ago, but it's now time, if you haven't already, to be looking at what are the other revenue streams outside of this new product that we get.
Think about it. You're guaranteed the 10 graded and the 100 additional rookies, and I already showed you the list of names.
to be able to survive. Because if you look at Burbank Sports Cards, they do not live or die based off of allocation from any manufacturer. They have a buy, sell, trade system, the largest probably in the world out there in California, and that's how they really make their money. And that's all kind of bonus, the allocation stuff that they're able to sell off. They don't even do breaks out there. They are simply just a buy, sell, trade, single shop mainly, and then they have allocation. If they lost allocation tomorrow, would it affect their business? Slightly, probably, but it wouldn't end them. And that's kind of what other shops have to figure out is, hey, what are the other ways we can add value and entertain?
We are clearing inventory to the point where you better dial as fast as you can.
I went to a shop recently in Panama City, Florida, a smaller shop, great guys in there, but I am one of those people that has that nostalgia for a small local card shop. Much as I love Jeff Wilson's store out there in Atlanta, the mega store, it's awesome. But do we need only mega stores? I don't think so. I don't want everything to be a Target or a Walmart. I don't need everything to be Toys R Us for cards, the Jeff Wilson Cards HQ. Again, it's awesome. I also like Bobby Shop out there in Panama City, Florida, where they've got their crew, they've got their local customers, and they're doing their thing. And I hope that they also continue to get the allocation because they have been in their community since the 80s.
We got a 1987 Fleer!
They have a nice store, but not everybody can dump $1 million into a store. So I really hope that Fanatics Topps, I hope the expectation is not mega store or bust as we go down the road. And we're going to see how that plays out. I don't want it to be like that. I would like smaller shops that are also just awesome and have been around and doing good stuff. I want them to also be in these communities and not the, gigantic, the Toys R Us card stores, and that is it. All right, we'll react a little bit to the Darren Rovell, Jeff Wilson show that was on, I think, yesterday. I watched it all, and then at the very end, they kind of circled back around to the card cleaning issue, kind of on the back end of the conversation towards the end. And I just don't understand why it's so hard to understand. And they talked a little bit back and forth. And I'll say I appreciate Darren Rovell, respect his background. I know he's got a journalism background, and he does good stuff. I actually think that Collect.com puts out some great articles. I think that they're going to have a lot of success, but they are a huge megaphone now in our hobby. And if there's something that just doesn't smell right or doesn't sit right, I think it's important to talk about. And to me, this is a huge issue in our hobby. I know for many it's not. I, again, am probably the old man yelling into the clouds. I think it's an absolute huge threat to our hobby. It is card cleaning / card repair. Rovell did pull back a little bit on his stance. Last conversation, he sounded a little bit more convicted about how he was okay. Yeah, PSA needs to come up with, a plan to kind of approve this or maybe approve a certain product that they like. Be open-minded to this. Guys, this is always common sense going back. PSA has a guarantee now and into the future. If you are running that business and card cleaning companies are saying, hey, let's talk about this and let's figure out how we can work together, it's a direct threat to the grading company's business. If something goes wrong with these products that nobody knows what's in them because it's not on the label, it's not anywhere, why would a company that is offering a financial guarantee on their grade and authentication be all in on it or say, yeah, okay, well, maybe this, but not? This is the most common sense issue that for some reason became some sort of a hot topic. It's like, this is so easy to understand. And yet, it's still kind of, let's be open-minded to this. And well, this is how it's done in sports memorabilia or art or whatever. This is not the same thing. We're comparing apples to oranges to pineapples and trying to come up with some sort of something that makes sense. And it just doesn't. It's never going to. PSA is never going to be able to say, unless they pull their guarantee, and I don't know if hobbyists really want that. Is that what we want? Okay, so we'll allow card cleaning / repair, but we're pulling the guarantee away. That sounds great. That sounds great for everybody. But yeah, let's go ahead. Then it's just kind of game over at that point. That's just stupid. I'm confident that PSA is going to come up with better ways to detect. I think that it's going to get better. It might take a little bit of time, but it's going to get better because, again, this is a threat to them / us, the end consumer, the end collector of the thing. It is a threat. It is not a benefit to anyone buying the repaired thing that they think is a 6, but really it's a 2 turned into a 6. And actually Rovell said on the show last night that he has a friend that the card cleaning company turned a 5 into a 9. I mean, I don't understand why we can't just appreciate a collectible going through its journey and the stuff that organically survived in that condition. That's the stuff that we want to prop up and have stories about. The stuff that a doctor put Botox on and lip injections on, and now it's a 9. I mean, come the hell on. How on earth does this make any sense? Card buyers out there, I've said it 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 more because it's the most common sense thing ever. Would you pay the same price for a card knowing this one repaired, this one has not been repaired? The answer is obviously no. People at shows and look online, they haggle over cards for anything. Think about all the haggling you do on price. If you're a dealer and you've got, collector or whatever, you got a speculator, whoever you're battling it out with, these are collectibles. They're worth whatever somebody will pay for them at any given moment in time. They're going to haggle with you even if there's nothing wrong with the card. If it's sitting in a 10 holder, they're going to say, you know what? That just looks a little bit off to me. It doesn't look like a 10. Let alone knowing that the thing has been rubbed down and soaked for 17 days and all this other stuff. I mean, guys, this is the biggest joke in the hobby currently. It's the biggest joke. And so my hope is for collect.com and for those that have big megaphones, really kind of understanding this. And I know Darren Rovell, I think he said he owns 2 cards. It's mostly tickets and memorabilia. He's more of a memorabilia guy. But his website is going to also be heavily focused on cards. There's a lot more card collectors than there are memorabilia collectors. And there's some crossover there, of course, but all budgets can get into cards and storage. For cards, you can store them. For memorabilia, how many jerseys and signed helmets and signed footballs can you, maybe you've got a mega mansion. There's way more card collectors out there than there is for memorabilia and a lot of this other stuff. So I don't know. Again, it's just my opinion. I think all these guys are out to do good things. And I think overall, I think collect.com doing a really good job. I hope they continue on and have success. I saw their media partner at the National. So they're going to be out there. But on these types of issues, man, I think these are so cut and dry. There's not really a lot of gray in there. There's maybe a little bit of gray, but there's not much. Last thing I'll talk about is I heard that the National really cracking down on dealers that were subletting tables. I'm all for this. I'm really kind of all done with the who do you know that can get you into the card show.
Barely $2 and change for an 86 clear Jordan sticker that we sold. Somebody gets, not everybody, of course. We sold that card for 40 grand.
And who do you know that can get you into allocation? That's really kind of the old school way of how it's always gone. I'm really happy about a fair and honest process. Now, the backside of that is that Topps Fanatics is probably going to run that fair, honest process. But when people screw around with it, or if they don't meet expectations, that fair and honest process is probably just going to be straight from Topps Fanatics to you, the consumer. It's probably going to mean a lot less of it going out to hobby shops or to dealers or to, show owners or whatever. But I like the fact I'm hearing that the National is starting to kind of like cutting out this BS of like subletting tables. Why are we subletting tables at the National when there's a long wait list of people that are ready to pay for a table? It doesn't make any sense. I do understand loyalty to the old-time dealers, but if you're not the one that's showing up there at the show, then why the hell should you have that table? Especially when a quarter of the dealers at the National are there just to show the collection. They're not there to actually even sell anything. They just put the collection out and then they price it up at 10x the comps. And then you're like, hey, would you take this? And they're like, no. It's like you're just wasting space. If there's a bunch of people that want to come in and actually sell and transact, let some of that new blood in, for crying out loud. So good to hear that the National is not going to allow subletting of tables. That's all I've got, my friends.
Fleer!
Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.